The Visual Editor tab is where you put in the final touches for the designs of your quiz, survey, or feedback form. It is rather customizable, and I will quickly go through the various options you have in designing your form here. So if you want a quick fix, simply load a predefined theme over here. The modern series look pretty good, and the various colors there should fit most modern websites and design easily. If you have a particular theme that you think is nice, we would definitely love it if you want us to include it in here as a theme to share with everyone. So let's just go with the modern dark. To the next, on the right of it would be the show header section over here. This basically is a small area above your quiz which you can display. Usually we leave it off as it does not fit in well with the body of the quiz, but you can add in your own background URL on the top of the header section. You'll add in your own image to maybe add more flavor to your quiz design. You can then adjust the height of the header, and this is in pixels, as you can see over here. But usually we switch it off. And as I said over here, this is where you can add in your own HTML image which you have to upload on your own server and display it in your quiz form. In the second row over here, you can adjust how you want your questions text to look like. So I can choose, maybe say Times New Roman, and then enlarge the size over here, choose whether I want it bold or not, and choose the color. So let's just choose yellow. On the right of this is the width of the quiz. If you want your quiz width to be larger, just simply enter a larger number, and this is in pixels. After that, you can actually align how you want your question to be aligned, left, right, or center. And here on the right of it, in the second row, it's the background border radius, which is in pixels. So this is best demonstrated by just simply showing it to you here. So if I want to have a very square looking like quiz, I simply type in 0, and you can notice that the edges of the quiz is now squared and not rounded. If I want it to be rounded, add in a huge number, maybe say 20, and you can notice that it's rounded. Nowadays, for most modern websites, they like to have rounded edges, and that's why we add in this feature. And then the third row, which is the answer styles, is basically where you can choose how you want your answers to look like. Again, this is very similar to how the questions text editing look like. Height is where you can adjust the height of your quiz. Do note that you might want to play around with your quiz, see how it actually looks like with all your various questions loaded, test it, and then select a good height that will encompass all your questions in a neat box. And then on the right of the third row is the background. Here you can also adjust the color of your background. Alright, or if you prefer to add in your own background image in a HTML, in HTTP, HTML URLs, you can just type it in here and it will load. The same goes for your header. Alright, and then the last row, this is where you can choose, you play around with your background border for the answers. So for BG border over here, if I were to type 5, notice that the border around the quiz is thicker. Let me just demonstrate to you more obvious manner. Alright, notice this value affects the border of the quiz, and I can then choose the color that I want. So if it's blue, maybe I'll just select like a light blue. The answer border radius affects this border radius over here. So again, if I want it to be square, notice that I just put in 0 and it looks squarish. And if I want it to be more circular, add in a large number and it will be circular. And I can also play around with the colors of this border radius. And then you can choose the color of your button style, the submit button over here. We have a variety of colors for you, navy blue, alright, and you can just simply select it. Next, we have an open text height, which is basically playing with the height of this box over here. This is used for those open text choice questions, and we added it in so that you can easily create good looking feedback forms. This is because when you can have a higher, or rather a larger box for your open text questions, it gives the user a more inviting vibe to type in as much feedback as they want. So this is good for those one question type of feedback forms where you can just add in a large open height text and play around with the quiz width to create that nice looking feedback form that you always wanted. Alright, then simply click on the Save Design button and your quiz design is saved. Of course, this looks kind of weird, so I'll just probably go with a theme over here.